Good evening, everyone, and welcome to your post-match reaction video after Rangers' long overdue Old Firm victory, defeating Celtic by 3-0 at a raucous Ibrox this afternoon. Totally dominant display from Rangers. It was 3-0 going on 4 or 5. In all honesty, much deserved 3 points, and Philip Clement gets his first win over Celtic. A first-half screamer from Yanis Hadji opened proceedings, and then 2 goals in the second half. A goal from a corner, no less. Robin Proper at the back post sliding home for goal number 2. Then Danilo comes off the bench and almost, I think, with his first touch, fires home for goal number 3. Rangers well deserving of the 3 points. They reduced the gap. It's still insurmountable to me, but a stand-alone game. It was a tremendous performance from Rangers, much needed, and there was a lot to enjoy about that Rangers performance. Chris Jack joins me live from Ibrox. I'm hoping that the tunes have now stopped. I know they're still blaring the tunes out, but Chris, very enjoyable afternoon at Ibrox.
The music has indeed stopped here, Derek. I think the celebrations may well go on for some time. A really enjoyable, encouraging afternoon for Rangers. Much more like it, as you said in the intro there, just a long time coming. I think the fans will maybe ask where that level of performance has been in certain other fixtures over the course of the season. We will come on and talk about the bigger picture, I'm sure, in the days to come, but all the focus has to be on the snapshot. I feel like it has to be on this 90 minutes. Much more like it from Rangers. Really impressive. And as you touched on there, won by 3. Could have and should have won by more. Had the chances to do so. Dominated large swathes of that game, and certainly have to be really encouraged by that. We've spoken a few times this season after big results, like Malmo, like Nice, like Spurs. Can that be a turning point? Can it be a game that Rangers kick on from? Ultimately, time will tell in that regard. But you have to give the manager and the players all the credit for what they've just produced over the last couple of hours here.
Yep, certainly it was tremendous from Rangers. As I touched on that first half, a makeshift Rangers team. It's fair to say when we were on for the pre-match video, we did say there was question marks certainly over the back line with Ridvan starting at right back. I thought he had an excellent game up against Dyson Maeda. He got past him in the opening few minutes, fired across, and I thought, he could be in for a game here, Ridvan, but I thought he certainly grew into it and was superb. He had certainly a few, he was trying shots from distance in that second half, hitting shots from audacious distances, but Kasper Schmeichel was up to the task, of course, but I thought he was excellent. Thought the back two in the middle were excellent. Certainly a lot of trepidation with Dujon Sterling and Robin Proper at the heart of the Rangers defence, given the 2 previous matches. Thought the pair of them were superb. And on the left, of course, Jefty I thought was excellent as well. But special mention for Liam Kelly. He comes in today and for me was brilliant, called upon when required. I thought his distribution was good. Did not look out of place, and considering he's only played 1 match this season against Dundee in that home game when Jack Butland's missus was giving birth, thought he stepped in and certainly didn't look out of place today, Chris. He shouldn't do it, and because he is an experienced goalkeeper, we shouldn't have any concerns about that.
I think he will be perhaps surprised at how little he had to do. Celtic, I thought, were really poor today. Didn't offer an awful lot at all. Saved really well from Hatate late in the first half. Once the Kyogo gets the goal, then rightly chopped off for offside. Apart from that, Liam Kelly, well, I've really enjoyed his afternoon because he didn't have a lot to do. As you mentioned there, it's only his second appearance. He had to wait a long time for the first one. He probably never thought that Rangers debut was going to come when he left the club to go and continue his career. So this kind of afternoon will mean so much to him. So I thought he did what he had to do well. I thought his distribution early on was a wee bit shaky at times, but no, really came onto the game.
Long. It looked like a ploy, Chris. The Rangers wanted to go long. That looked like the back.
I think overall he can be really pleased and really proud of his showing. If you look at the side overall, we went through it. ahead of the game and looked at who this was a big game for, who the potential match winners were going to be, you have to say not a failure in that Rangers side. Kelly coming in really impressive. Ridvan excellent at right back. The centre half partnership that we had concerns over did the job well. Yesterday I thought a game was good on that left hand side, and that then really gave the Rangers the foundation to go and build on. We spoke about Celtic being able to go and cause that Rangers defence problems. When they didn't do that, you could then sense the belief growing throughout the side, the belief growing round about Ibrox that the Rangers were more than in this game, that they more than had a chance of going on and winning it. And I think we touched on it ahead of the game of giving the fans something to get behind, giving the fans a reason to be optimistic. Rangers started well. So often in these games they've not started well. They've lost the first goal. They've given themselves too much to do. That wasn't the case here. There was a real confidence about the way that they pressed, a real confidence about the way that they moved the ball, created early chances, to get the goal, which obviously helps. But there was never. It didn't look as if that fear factor was there for Rangers today. Celtic not great, but Rangers didn't make them look great. Now they pressed them really well. Didn't allow them to play. Didn't allow them to get into their stride. All the things that Rangers did do. I say the players and the management deserve huge credit for the way that Rangers went about their business today.
Yeah, they were aggressive, which I really enjoyed in their faces. That didn't allow a Celtic time on the ball, and there was certainly a few unforced errors from Celtic who struggled with that pressure they were under. The opening goal, as I touched on, strike from Hadji is tremendous. A little flick from Raskin was outstanding as well, and right in front of his father who was watching on. That was certainly a goal and a performance his dad would have been happy with himself back in his playing days. Yanis Hadji has been magnificent. I mean, since he came in, I think he's shown what Rangers have been missing. He's a quality player, Chris. He's a match winner. We touched on in the pre-match show who are the Rangers match winners. Hadji is certainly someone that fancied this today, and his goal was sensational, right in the corner away from Schmeichel, and he's capable of that, isn't he?
Slightly disappointed because I did mention it to you pre-match that Hadji was maybe due a goal, and I fancied him to be one of the potential goal scorers. I then didn't put my money where my mouth is, unfortunately, and going back it. I don't think I've been brave enough to go for the Hadji 3-0 scorecast anyway. But I thought he was really good today. You saw what the goal meant to him. Clearly, it's been a long time coming. He's spoken a couple of times in the press, and a couple of times I've managed to interview him. He's spoken about everything that he's been through in terms of his injury, in terms of that loan spell on the back of finding that he wasn't part of Michael Beale's plans. That's before you even consider everything that he's gone through this season, coming back after the Euros, having that contract issue, having to go and play with the B team. It says a lot about Yanis Hadji, not just as a footballer, but as a guy, as a person, that he's been able to overcome all that. He still kept going, and so he deserves that kind of moment. Yes, he's not perfect. He's not the answer to all of Rangers' problems, but he's definitely a guy who can contribute, who can produce moments like that, who can produce performances like that. And I mentioned earlier on about players who can be proud of their performances. I think Yanis Hadji certainly falls into that category as well.
Yeah, I had a feeling that a slight concern at half-time. I mean, Rangers were on top, that with the fact that it had been just 1-0, I didn't expect Celtic to be as flat in the second half. Sort of had a bit of a flurry second half. Like you said, Chris, they had the Kyogo goal that was rightly ruled out for offside, but then Rangers get that second goal, and from a corner no less. I couldn't believe it when I witnessed Robin Cropper sliding in at the back post. That aside, I was getting frustrated again. It's corners that were getting fired in near post, headed away. But this one was right on the money, header towards, a flick on towards the back post, and there was Proper sliding in. He's been someone that's come in for heavy criticism recently, Chris, it's fair to say. But that'll do him the world of good in terms of in terms of his confidence at Rangers, really, in trying to get him back on side with the fans.
It should do. If it doesn't, then he's probably a lost cause. Now, if you can't go and take a huge confidence boost and really kind of kick on from a performance, a result like that, then I say you're probably in the wrong game. That's arguably the best 90 minutes of his Rangers career. That goal is certainly the best moment. Came at a really important time for Rangers as well. So Celtic did get that goal through Kyogo that was as a chalked off for offside, and it was important that Rangers found a way to re-establish themselves after that moment and go on and get the second goal. We know how important it is to score first in these games. When you do score first, you then have to go and capitalise on it. They didn't manage to do that in the Hampden game. They've not managed to do that often enough in general in this fixture for such a long time. The second goal basically won the game. Second goal, there's no coming back for Celtic after that. They did not show enough to be able to come back from that. And you then get the third goal through. Danilo takes it really well, and that adds a shine to the scoreline that's more than merited. If it finished 2-0, you would say yes, Rangers thoroughly deserved that. At 3, I think that's a bit more reflective of the gap between the sides this afternoon. So Rangers really comfortable, really commanding for long spells of that game. And I don't think 3-0 flatters them in the slightest.
Yep, there's a comment coming in. David says, is that scaffolders in the background? It's either that or folk are getting their money's worth out of hospitality, that's for sure. But yeah, a bit of commotion in the background. Don't begrudge them that after what they witnessed this afternoon. Big thank you to Bluebells Are Blue for generosity. They are gifted 20 Rangers Review memberships for the YouTube channel. That is absolutely magnificent, sir. Thank you very much for doing just that. So yeah, superb stuff. Danilo comes on then, Chris, and nets with I think it must have been his first touch. The roof explodes, and it just the cherry on top of the cake, and what was a really good Rangers display.
As I said there, I think they deserve that. I think they deserve to win by that margin. I think that's more reflective of the difference between the sides. I touched on it earlier on that I thought Celtic were really poor today, not the type of Celtic performance that I expected, but Rangers didn't allow them to get into any sort of flow, any sort of rhythm. As they created very, very few chances, and Rangers put them in that position because they pressed well, they defended well, they had quality on the ball. Still a couple of moments where you think that decision making is perhaps not quite there, but overall, I think you have to be hugely encouraged by what Rangers were able to do today. It goes back to, I say, the point that we've spoken about so often over the course of the campaign. Can they go and kick on? Can they go and use this as a springboard? Can they take the confidence and take everything from this and take it into next week, or and then take it into the week after that? Take it into a prolonged run of fixtures. If they can do, great. That would answer a lot of questions. That's ultimately for the longer term. That's the bigger picture that will only become evident in the fullness of time. But I think you have to. I think if you only look at that 90 minutes, it's certainly the best of the season domestically. I wrote in my analysis piece that so many games here this season have been a bit lacklustre. They've been so boring at times to watch. A number of the away performances and away results have just been unacceptable. No other way of describing it, and that almost makes this afternoon as surprising. I certainly didn't see that performance coming. I didn't see Rangers being as comfortable. Didn't see them being as commanding, but they were, and they deserve all the credit for it.
Yep, I want to get to a few of the comments that are coming in, because as you can imagine, there's loads. Weirdly, I've had a few infiltrators that have just banned. They're tuning in despite their team getting gubbed this afternoon. But there you go. Francis with the point says, let's learn from McCrory's situation. Kelly has to stay number one. Certainly on that display, Francis, I would be starting Liam Kelly for the next game. I think it's certainly... he's given the manager something to think about, that's for sure. I wanted to touch on Nico Raskin as well, Chris, because he was given the captain's armband this afternoon, and he was his little bulldog self in the middle of that park. Got booked at the end of the first half. Cal McGregor was trying to wind him up. I'm not too sure why Raskin was the only player that was booked in that altercation. I didn't think if it was going to be a yellow card, it should have been a yellow card for both or none at all. But I thought he was terrific as ever. Francis says, what a game Raskin was, a damn good captain. Thought he was sensational today, Chris. Do you agree?
The incident at the end of the first half is just a bit of a nonsense, to be honest. It's one of these kind of modern football things that irks me quite a lot. There's nothing in that. It's two guys who are committed, who want to win the game. One's had a good first half, one has not had a good first half. There's nothing in it. It's handbags. You just surely, if you're the referee, a bit of common sense. You have a quiet word in their ear as you're walking back off. You book Raskin in that situation. When you don't book McGregor in that situation, you're opening yourselves up to people asking, well, what's that all about? I say there was no need for Don Robertson to get involved like that. Have a word as they're both going off and say, look, don't do it again. Overall, though, it didn't take the shine off Nico Raskin's performance. I thought he was really, really impressive. Diomande got the man of the match in the stadium here, but I thought Raskin alongside him just as accomplished. The move for the first goal, now he wins it, he drives. Yeah. So he wins the ball back, but importantly, he uses it well as well. He didn't take on a shot when it wasn't really there for him. He didn't kind of cut back and just kind of waste the momentum of the attack. He knew where Hadji was. Nice wee flick into him. Hadji's a really, really lovely finish from distance to beat the keeper like that. But I think that summed up all that was good about Raskin. Winning the ball, using the ball, covered so much ground, and wearing that captain's armband today, I'm sure that meant a lot to him. And he certainly lived up to the balance. I thought he was really, really impressive. I can understand why Diomande got the man of the match. Again, someone that we spoke about earlier on, about someone needing a big performance. He had to kind of show it in one of these Old Firm games. I thought he certainly did that. It was really good. But I said Raskin, excellent, and it's no surprise to see the love coming in for him on the comments on the show.
Yeah, there's a comment as well just about Alistair Johnston. It must be in this fixture. He must be the most protected player I've ever seen. How he escapes cautions defies belief. He had an elbow smash on Hadji in the first half, and then the second half he had a few fouls in quick succession, but got a little away with it. Jefty, of course, I think rightly showing the yellow at the tail end of the first half for catching Kuhn with his flailing arm and bust open his nose as well there. But I thought that was a rightful yellow for that one. But yeah, Johnston for me again escaping more punishment, just beggars belief. But there you go. Interesting point coming in here. Well, first of all, Michelle is donated to the channel. Thank you very much for your kind donation, Michelle. It's much appreciated. Ricky with a point here and bigger picture. Look, Chris, he says. Team did really well. Now let's be consistent. And over on Instagram Live, Andy Smith says, bittersweet today. That's got to be the reference point for this squad. I'm behind Clement, despite probably being in a 10% of the likes, but ripping up every 12 months gets zero progress. In terms of Clement, that is exactly what he required at this point. I said in the pre-match in videos a couple of days ago that I don't even think an Old Firm win would be enough to change the mood amongst the Rangers fan base towards Philip Clement. He has to go on a consistent run of matches. This cannot be an outlier, just one of those games where Rangers turn up every so often against Celtic.
I think the fear for the fans will be that it is an outlier, that it is a one-off. I mentioned a couple of games earlier on, likes of Malmo, likes of Nice, likes of Spurs. We've spoken about these type of performances before. We've spoken about results that you think this is the kind of afternoon that Rangers go and really move on from. They won 6-0 here just a few weeks ago, and since then have ended up further away from Celtic in the title race. You cannot go into an Old Firm game at this stage that far away from Celtic and not expect to find yourself under pressure. I'm sure Clement would fully understand the situation. If he can somehow put together a sustained run of form now, and not just in terms of results, in terms of performances as well. So my biggest criticism, if you like, of the manager of late has been not giving the fans something to actually get behind. So yes, games have been won. There have been moments where you think Rangers are on the right track, but it's not happened for a big enough period. You've not thought there's definitely something there that people can really buy into. There's not those signs of progress that people can really get behind. So that's the situation that he's put himself in. I know there will be people who will be won over by this. There will be people who say, well, it doesn't change anything. I think it certainly buys him a bit more time. It takes a bit of the pressure off. It puts a bit more credit in the bank. He mentioned that after the United game here a few weeks ago that he didn't have any or he very, very little credit left. This puts a lot in the bank. You have to give him a lot of credit for the way that he managed that game from a managerial and a tactical point of view. You have to give him a lot of credit for the way that he got his players to perform. But ultimately, if Rangers go and drop a couple of points at Easter Road or when they're up in Dundee next midweek, we know what the reaction is going to be. We know what the questions are going to be. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's not get too excited about what Rangers have done here today. But in a couple of weeks' time, if they have done the right things, then maybe we can start to talk about corners being turned and that type of thing. But right now, I think there's still questions to answer. There's still issues in play. As I said in my piece on the site, they are for another day. When you win an Old Firm game as comprehensively as that, as comfortably as that, as impressively as that, you just have to look at the 90 minutes. Now, if you can't enjoy an afternoon like that, then the Rangers fans are in the wrong place. It was a really different atmosphere around about the place today. They enjoyed it. They were right to enjoy it. So let's just, if you take the positives, take the encouragement from it, it'll put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces. Let's hope that continues when Rangers head through Easter Road at the weekend.
Yep, it's a 12 o'clock kick-off, that one, folks, at Easter Road against Hibs on Sunday, followed by a trip to Dens Park a week today. Of course, it's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, it's so a week today we go to Dens Park and play Dundee. That match kicks off at 8 p.m. But as we know, Thursday nights are Rangers nights, as Conton Commando says. I think Rangers should play every Thursday. That was what I suggest anyway. Just on Clement, Alan Govan with the point says that Clement has supporters, Derek. You just ignore them. But don't ignore them. You can't deny the pressure the guy has been under, given the last two really disappointing results against St Mirren and Motherwell. I think today, as Chris says, certainly puts a lot of credit in the bank. He had to get that monkey off his back. He has done. It buys him time. He now has to go on a sustained run of games. As Bluebells Are Blue sort of sums up there. He says, Derek, Chris, how much credit in the bank up against the sack does this buy PC? PC's biggest critic here, but that monkey off his back definitely has me one tiptoe back on the PC train. Victories over Celtic helps, that's for sure. There's still another 2 Old Firm matches to come. He has to go on a run of games. Hibs have been a bit resurgent under David Gray, so that will not be an easy game, but Rangers need to put in this sort of performance on a consistent basis for fans to start getting back on board with what he's trying to achieve here at Rangers. We've said it before, even they've reduced the gap to 11 points. That for me is still, as I said earlier, insurmountable. Still too much of a gap at this stage of the season. God forbid it went to 17, but Rangers never made sure that was never going to be the case today. But it's all about chewing into that gap and not allowing Celtic to have a sort of free run and free wheel over towards the finishing line come the end of the season. But I think as a standalone game, Chris, the Rangers fans can certainly celebrate tonight. It's been long overdue, as I said, that the last one was that dead rubber game, if you like, under Michael Beale, the 3-0 game at the end of, not last season, but the season before. They haven't won a match. I think, was it the Hollander game the last time they won it when the league was more in the balance? That was the first Old Firm game. Steven Gerrard's final game, of course, he wasn't even in the dugout for that game because COVID had ripped through the squad. Pretty much similar circumstances where Rangers put in a bit of a makeshift team on that occasion. Robbie McCrory in goals, if you remember, Leon Balogun at right back. Bit of similarities to that game in a way.
I think that will add an extra layer of satisfaction to this one for Clement because he has been so up against it. He has had so many questions about his future, about his signings, about his tactics, about the way that Rangers have performed over the course of the season. He's faced a lot of questions, a lot of criticism. He puts out a side with his second choice goalkeeper, with a makeshift centre half, with a left back playing at right back, and he gets a result like that. He gets a performance like that. So, as I said in my analysis on the site, as we just touched on over the last 25 minutes or so, He has had his critics. I think he deservedly has his critics, but he deserves all the praise today. Both of those things don't need to be standalone points. You can criticise for what has gone on and also praise him for what has just gone on here today. As I don't think it completely swings it all in his favour. It may do for some, it won't do for others. But you will not find a Rangers fan tonight who doesn't believe that Rangers were thoroughly worthy of that victory, and that the manager deserves a lot of praise for it, and that the players deserve a lot of praise for it. So, as I said there, if you can't enjoy a result and a performance like that, then what's the point in turning up? I think people were slightly downbeat ahead of the game. Not a lot of people expected Rangers to be able to turn up and put in that level of showing and certainly get that kind of victory. So be happy that Rangers surprised us. A lot of work still to do, but that's for the coming days. That's for the bigger picture. That's for what will come at Hibs, at Dundee, and then heading into the next Ibrox game. Tonight and today is all just about a really encouraging afternoon and evening for Rangers.
Yeah, go and enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing tonight, folks. Big thanks again. Bluebells are blue. Certainly, with the generosity tonight, he's gifted another 20 Rangers Review memberships. Utterly outstanding, buddy. Thank you very much for that. Do go and take advantage of it. Just a heads up what is to come. We're back on tomorrow. Joshua will be back on with us. He's down in the bills of Ibrox at the moment, hearing from Philip Clement and whatever players are stopping by. There'll be smiles on the faces of not only the manager but the entire squad and everyone inside Ibrox this afternoon, apart from, of course, the opposition, who will be feeling a tad glum, I would imagine. Right, a big thank you to Chris, as ever, for joining us on the show, and thank you to you all for tuning in. It is much appreciated. We will be back again tomorrow morning, 9:30, and we'll speak to you again then. Until then, big shout out. Firstly, I went and watched the game at the Mill House over in Warrington, which is a cracking pub. They allow Rangers and Celtic fans in there, which is sort of an alien concept back north of the border, but it was very much enjoyable in there, that's for sure. So shout out to them. Right, we'll speak to you tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye for now.